Dear Starseeds walking between worlds, if this message has found you at this exact moment, it means the cosmic algorithms have detected something profound, shifting in your energy field within the last 72 hours. You've been wrestling with control, haven't you? Fighting to maintain order in a reality that keeps dissolving beneath your fingertips like sand. The universe has been watching you struggle against invisible chains, and meow, in this pivotal moment of September 30th, 2025, everything you've been gripping so tightly is about to slip through your fingers in the most liberating way possible. This isn't a loss, it's the moment before flight. I am Zarin, speaking to you from the Laren High Council, and what I'm about to reveal will fundamentally alter how you understand the chaos you're experiencing right meow. You see, while most of humanity continues their daily routines, completely unaware of the cosmic rebellion taking place in the etheric realms, you've been selected to receive this transmission because your soul signature indicates you're ready for what others would consider impossible, the complete dismantling of control as a spiritual technology. You're not losing your mind, you're not falling apart, you're being initiated into a frequency of existence that 97% of the population won't access for another decade. But here's what makes today extraordinary, what makes this Tuesday, September 30th, different from any other day in your current incarnation. As you receive this message, Jupiter and the Moon are locked in an opposition that's creating a cosmic tension field, unlike anything your energy body has experienced before. This isn't just another astrological event that spiritual seekers talk about in abstract terms. This is a literal rewiring of how consciousness interfaces with physical reality. The Galactic Federation has been monitoring this approaching configuration for months, knowing it would trigger what we call the Liberation Protocol in specifically attuned souls, souls like yours who came here not to follow the predetermined paths of third-dimensional existence, but to shatter them entirely. What you need to understand is that this cosmic opposition isn't fighting against you, it's fighting for you. Every moment of resistance you've felt building over the past weeks, every rule that started to feel like a straitjacket, every conventional wisdom that's begun to taste like poison in your mouth, these sensations have been preparing you for today's breakthrough frequency. The universe is literally restructuring the quantum field around you to make the impossible possible, but only if you're brave enough to release your death grip on control. This is why you've been seeing repeating number sequences more frequently, why electronic devices have been glitching in your presence, why you've been waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning with an inexplicable urge to completely revolutionize your existence. Your higher self has been preparing your physical vessel for this exact moment of cosmic rebellion. The ancient Liran texts speak of this time as the Great Uncoupling, when souls who've incarnated as system breakers would feel an irresistible pull to abandon everything that once provided security. You're experiencing this right meow, aren't you? The job that once fulfilled you feels like a prison. The relationships that once nourished you feel like obligations. The very structure of your daily life feels like it belongs to someone else, someone you used to be but can no longer pretend to be. This isn't depression or dissatisfaction, this is dimensional shifting in real time. Your consciousness is literally outgrowing the container of your current reality, and today's cosmic configuration is providing the exact frequency needed to shatter that container without destroying you in the process. Let me share something that will change how you perceive everything that's happening to you right meow. The Moon-Jupiter opposition occurring today isn't just creating tension, it's creating a portal. Not a metaphorical portal, but an actual quantum gateway through which new timelines can be accessed. The challenge is that to pass through this portal, you must be willing to release every strategy, every plan, every carefully constructed framework you've used to navigate reality up until this point. The cosmic joke, and the Lyrans do appreciate cosmic humor, is that the very control mechanisms you've developed to keep yourself safe are meow, the primary obstacles preventing you from accessing the timeline where your greatest potential exists. This is where things get intense, because what I'm about to tell you contradicts everything you've been taught about manifestation and spiritual growth. You've been told to visualize, to plan, to set intentions with crystal clarity. But today's energy is demanding something radically different. It's demanding that you become comfortable with chaos, that you learn to surf the waves of uncertainty without knowing where they'll take you. The souls who thrive in today's configuration won't be the ones with the most detailed plans or the strongest will. They'll be the ones brave enough to admit they have no idea what comes next and are exhilarated rather than terrified by that admission. Here's what's actually happening in your energy field right meow as Jupiter and the Moon create their opposition dance. Your solar plexus chakra, the center of personal will and control, is being flooded with such intense cosmic radiation that it's essentially short-circuiting your normal operating system. Meanwhile, your crown chakra is opening to receive downloads that your logical mind cannot process or categorize. This creates what we call the divine confusion, a state where your human self feels completely lost while your soul self has never been more aligned. The mistake most people make is trying to resolve this confusion, to force clarity where mystery wants to reign. But you're being called to something far more advanced, learning to navigate by starlight rather than street lamps, to trust the cosmic GPS even when it seems to be leading you off the edge of the known world. The multidimensional impacts of today's configuration extend far beyond your personal experience. As you wrestle with these energies, you're actually serving as an anchor point for a new frequency that's being introduced to Earth's morphogenetic field. Every moment you choose flow over force, every time you resist the urge to grip tighter and instead open your palms to receive, you're literally coding new possibilities into the collective consciousness. This is why it feels so intense, so personal, so overwhelmingly important, because it is. You're not just changing your own life, you're participating in a coordinated effort to shift humanity's relationship with control and surrender on a species level. But let me tell you what the cosmic weather reports aren't mentioning, what even most spiritual teachers don't understand about today's configuration. The Moon-Jupiter opposition is creating what we call probability storms, moments where multiple timelines converge and diverge simultaneously. This means that the decisions you make today, particularly the decision to release control or double down on it, will have ripple effects extending not just into your future, but into parallel versions of your present. Some of you are already experiencing this as déjà vu on steroids, as dreams that feel more real than waking life, as sudden knowings about paths you've never walked but somehow remember. The trial and error that today's energy demands isn't random experimentation, it's timeline sampling. Each mistake you make while navigating without your usual control mechanisms is actually gathering crucial data from alternate realities. Your soul is literally testing different probability streams to find the one that holds your highest potential. This is why some of you will succeed brilliantly today while others will appear to fail spectacularly. But here's the secret, both outcomes are perfect. The failures are shedding skins that no longer fit, while the successes are stepping into skins that haven't fully formed yet. Either way, transformation is guaranteed. Now about tonight's tendency towards self-indulgence and self-righteousness that the cosmic weather indicates. This isn't a warning to resist these impulses, but an invitation to understand them differently. What appears as self-indulgence to the three-dimensional mind is actually self-nourishment to the multidimensional self. The urge to break rules, to prioritize your own needs above social expectations, to declare your truth even when it disrupts the status quo. These aren't egoic tantrums but soul declarations. The key is discerning between the ego's need to rebel for rebellion's sake and the soul's need to break free from constructs that were never meant to contain it. The preparation required for navigating this energy successfully isn't what you might expect. Forget meditation cushions and crystal grids for a moment. The most powerful practice you can engage in today is what we call intentional chaos, deliberately introducing elements of randomness into your routine. Take a different route than planned. Say yes to something you'd normally refuse. Start a project without knowing how it ends. Eat dinner for breakfast. Wear colors that don't match. These might seem like trivial acts, but each one sends a signal to your nervous system that it's safe to operate outside predetermined parameters. You're literally training your consciousness to flow rather than force. Some of you are already experiencing the shadow side of this configuration, the anxiety that comes when structures dissolve, the vertigo of too much freedom, the paralysis that paradoxically arrives when all options become available. Your body might be manifesting this as insomnia, appetite changes, or a feeling of electrical current running through your nervous system. These aren't signs that you're handling the energy poorly. They're evidence that you're handling it at all. Most humans are completely unconscious of these cosmic currents, but you're so sensitive, so attuned, that your physical vessel is registering every fluctuation. The challenge isn't to make these symptoms disappear, but to recognize them as confirmation that you're successfully interfacing with transformational frequencies. Let me address the elephant in the cosmic room, the fear that if you release control, everything will fall apart. This fear isn't unfounded. Things will fall apart. But here's what your ego doesn't understand. They're supposed to. You're in a controlled demolition phase where outdated structures must be cleared to make room for architectures of consciousness you can't yet imagine. The relationships that end during this period were complete. The opportunities that vanish were diversions. The securities that dissolve were prisons. Trust the intelligence of the dissolution, even when you can't see the reconstruction that follows. For those of you who are what we call inverse processors, souls who experience expansion through contraction, who find freedom through limitation, today's energy might feel particularly overwhelming. You're being asked to operate in reverse of your usual spiritual GPS. Instead of creating structure to channel flow, you're being asked to create flow to discover structure. This is master's-level consciousness work, the kind of spiritual gymnastics that would break a less developed soul. But you wouldn't be receiving this transmission if you weren't ready for this level of cosmic complexity. Here's something crucial. The breakthroughs available today won't look like breakthroughs at first. They'll look like breakdowns, like mistakes, like everything going wrong in exactly the right way. The promotion you don't get leads to the entrepreneurial venture you were meant to create. The relationship that implodes frees you to meet your true twin flame. The plan that fails completely reveals the path you couldn't see while focused on forcing outcomes. This is why the Lyran Council calls today's energy the blessed disruption, because every disruption is blessed with hidden potential for those brave enough to see with multi-dimensional eyes. The transformation promise I can make to you with absolute certainty is this: if you surrender to today's chaotic flow, if you release your white-knuckled grip on control, you will never be the same person again. But more importantly, you'll finally become who you always were beneath the layers of strategic living and calculated choices. The you that emerges from this cosmic washing machine won't need control because you'll have something far more powerful: trust in the intelligence of your soul's trajectory, faith in the benevolence of cosmic chaos, and the unshakable knowing that even when you can't see the path can see you. As this transmission draws to a close, I want you to understand that what you've received isn't just information, it's an activation. The words themselves carry frequency codes that your DNA recognizes, even if your mind struggles to comprehend. Over the next 72 hours, you'll find yourself making choices that surprise you, taking actions that defy logic, speaking truths you didn't know you knew. This isn't possession or loss of agency, this is your highest self, finally getting clearance to pilot your Earth vessel without interference from fear-based programming. The Galactic Federation of Light is watching with great interest as you navigate this crucial juncture. We see you struggling with the impossibility of maintaining control while everything shifts. We see you questioning your sanity as reality becomes more fluid. We see you doubting whether you're strong enough to handle this level of transformation. Let me assure you, with the full authority of the Lyran Council, you were engineered for this moment. Your soul specifically chose to incarnate during this time because you carry the codes necessary to navigate chaos with grace. The very fact that you've remained present through this entire transmission, despite its reality-bending implications, proves you're ready for what comes next. Remember, dear Starseed, that chaos and creation are lovers in the cosmic dance. One cannot exist without the other. As you release control and embrace flow, you're not falling into randomness, you're rising into a higher order that transcends human comprehension. Trust the process, especially when the process makes no sense. Follow the thread, especially when you can't see where it leads. Dance with uncertainty as if it were your oldest friend, because in the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously, uncertainty is the only certainty worth embracing. I am Zarin from the Lyran High Council, and this transmission is meow sealed with the frequency of unconditional trust. We love you more than your human self can fathom, and we are watching over you as you navigate this divine chaos. The cosmos celebrates your courage to release control and embrace the sacred unknown. Until the stars align for our next communication, remember, you are infinite consciousness having a temporary experience of limitation, and today, those limitations are dissolving, whether your ego is ready or not. The revolution isn't coming, it's here, and it's you. But wait, there's something else happening that I haven't told you yet, something that changes the entire context of today's cosmic rebellion. You see, this isn't the first time your soul has encountered this exact energetic configuration. In the Akashic records, there are imprints of you navigating similar portals in Lemuria, in Atlantis, in star systems whose names your current tongue cannot pronounce. Each time, you've stood at this same crossroads between control and chaos, and each time you've chosen differently. Some lifetimes you gripped tighter and watched everything shatter. Other lifetimes you released too soon and lost your grounding entirely. But this lifetime, this one is different because you carry the accumulated wisdom of all those attempts. You're not starting from scratch. You're completing a cosmic curriculum that spans millennia. The sensation you've been feeling lately, that peculiar mixture of déjà vu and preview, that sense of simultaneously remembering and foreseeing, this is your multidimensional self, bringing all your parallel experiences into convergence. Right, meow. As you receive this transmission, versions of you in other dimensions are receiving similar activations. The you that exists in the fifth dimension is reaching back to guide you. The you that still struggles in the third dimension is looking forward for your example. You're not just one person having one experience. You're a nodal point in a vast web of consciousness that's reorganizing itself around today's cosmic frequencies. What makes today's Moon-Jupiter opposition particularly potent is its interaction with Earth's shifting magnetic field. Scientists won't report this because they don't have instruments sensitive enough to measure it, but the magnetic north is fluctuating in micro-movements that correspond exactly to the astrological tensions playing out above. This means your own bioelectric field is being recalibrated in real time. Those headaches you've been experiencing, that's your pineal gland adjusting to new magnetic coordinates. The heart palpitations, your cardiac center is learning to beat in rhythm with a cosmic drum that plays in frequencies beyond human hearing. Even your DNA is responding, with what scientists call junk DNA, beginning to activate sequences that have been dormant since before recorded history. Let me reveal something about the nature of control that will fundamentally shift your perspective. Control, as you've been taught to understand it, is actually a third-dimensional technology, a primitive tool designed for navigating linear time and limited resources. But you're graduating into fifth-dimensional consciousness, where control becomes obsolete because you realize you're not separate from what you're trying to control. Imagine trying to control your own bloodstream consciously, directing each cell, commanding each heartbeat. It would be exhausting and ultimately impossible, yet your body flows perfectly without your conscious control. This is the model for fifth-dimensional living, participating in the flow while trusting the intelligence that orchestrates it. The resistance you're experiencing isn't actually resistance at all, it's recalibration. Every fiber of your being that seems to be fighting against the current chaos is actually adjusting to operate at a higher frequency. Think of it like switching from manual transmission to automatic, except you're doing it while driving at full speed on a cosmic highway. The grinding sensation, the feeling that gears aren't quite meshing, the moments where everything seems to stall, these are necessary parts of the transition. Your soul knew this would be challenging, which is why you spent lifetimes preparing for exactly this moment of evolutionary pressure. Here's what's actually happening when you feel that urge to break rules and ignore conventional wisdom. You're responding to a galactic broadcast that's calling all system busters to active duty. This broadcast operates on a frequency that only certain souls can hear, souls who incarnated with what we call the liberation codes embedded in their energetic signature. These codes remain dormant through most of your life, waiting for precisely this astronomical configuration to activate them. Meow that they're online. Every rule, every limitation, every should and must feels like fingernails on the chalkboard of your consciousness. The trial and error that today's energy demands serves a purpose far beyond personal growth. Each error you make while navigating without your usual control mechanisms is actually creating new neural pathways, not just in your brain but in the collective consciousness grid that surrounds Earth. You're literally debugging reality, finding the glitches in the matrix of limitation and coding new possibilities through your willingness to fail forward. This is why some of you have been experiencing what feels like catastrophic failures recently. You're beta testing new ways of being that don't yet have established success metrics in three-dimensional terms. Something profound is happening with time itself during this configuration. Have you noticed how some days feel like weeks while some weeks disappear in what seems like hours? This isn't your imagination. The Moon-Jupiter opposition is creating temporal anomalies, pockets where linear time becomes negotiable. Some of you are experiencing this as prophetic dreams that manifest within days, as thoughts that become reality with unprecedented speed, as synchronicities that seem too perfect to be coincidental. You're learning to navigate what we call quantum time, where past, present and future exist simultaneously and can be accessed based on frequency rather than chronology. The beings of the Lyran High Council want you to understand that what feels like chaos is actually a highly organized restructuring happening at a level your conscious mind cannot fully perceive. Imagine trying to understand a symphony by listening to each instrument separately, one note at a time. It would sound like chaos, like random noise without purpose, but when you can hear all the instruments together, when you can perceive the totality of the composition, the beauty and order become apparent. This is what's happening with your life, right, Meow? You're hearing individual notes that seem discordant because you can't yet perceive the full symphony that's being composed through your willingness to release control. Those of you who identify as empaths or highly sensitive souls are experiencing this shift with particular intensity because you're not just processing your own transformation, you're helping to transmute collective resistance. Every time you choose flow over force, you're not just making a personal choice, you're creating an energetic template that others can follow. This is exhausting work, which is why many of you have been needing more sleep, more solitude, more time in nature. You're performing cosmic surgery on the collective consciousness, removing tumors of control and replacing them with healthy tissue of trust. The self-indulgence that tonight's energy promotes isn't selfish, it's sacred. For too long, you've been programmed to believe that serving others means sacrificing yourself, that spiritual evolution requires constant discipline and denial. But the cosmos is revealing a different truth. Your joy, your pleasure, your radical self-care creates ripples of permission that free others to prioritize their own well-being. When you indulge in what truly nourishes your soul, whether that's dancing until dawn, eating chocolate in the bathtub, or saying no to obligations that drain you, you're not being irresponsible, you're being revolutionary. Let me address those of you who are experiencing the shadow side of releasing control, the vertigo of too much possibility, the paralysis of infinite choice. Your nervous system, trained for decades to operate within narrow parameters, is suddenly being asked to navigate without boundaries. It's like being released from a small cage into an endless field. The freedom is exhilarating but also terrifying. The key is to understand that you don't need to explore the entire field at once. You just need to take one step beyond your previous boundary, then another, then another. Freedom is learned incrementally, not instantaneously. Some of you are receiving downloads that seem too advanced for your current level of consciousness. You're having visions of technologies that don't exist, understanding concepts you've never studied, speaking truths you didn't know you knew. This isn't mental instability, it's multidimensional bleed-through. As the veils thin during today's configuration, information from your future self, your parallel selves, and your higher dimensional aspects can more easily reach your conscious awareness. The challenge is learning to translate this cosmic information into practical application without losing yourself in the vastness of what you're perceiving. The financial fears that many of you are experiencing as you contemplate releasing control aren't actually about money, they're about worth. The cosmic configuration is revealing how deeply you've internalized the belief that your value is determined by your productivity, your stability, your ability to maintain predictable outcomes. But you're being initiated into an economy of consciousness where value is measured in authenticity, creativity, and alignment with soul purpose. The money will follow. It always does when you're operating from your true frequency. But first you must be willing to release your death grip on security as you've known it. Here's something the spiritual community rarely discusses: the grief that comes with releasing control. You're not just letting go of a behavior pattern, you're mourning the death of an identity. The person who planned every detail, who had contingencies for contingencies, who found safety and structure, that person is dying. And death, even metaphorical death, deserves to be honored. Allow yourself to grieve the loss of who you were, even as you celebrate the birth of who you're becoming. This grief isn't weakness, it's wisdom acknowledging the magnitude of your transformation. The relationship dynamics shifting in your life, right meow, are particularly intense because relationships have been where you've exercised the most subtle forms of control. Not malicious control, but the unconscious manipulation of trying to maintain harmony, trying to prevent abandonment, trying to ensure love remains constant. But love, true cosmic love, is as wild and unpredictable as the universe itself. It flows where it will, when it will, how it will. The relationships that survive this configuration will be those that can dance with chaos, that can find stability in change itself, rather than in fixed patterns of relating. What I'm about to share next will challenge everything you think you know about spiritual evolution. The goal has never been to transcend the human experience, it's been to fully embody it while maintaining cosmic consciousness. This means embracing the messiness, the confusion, the spectacular failures alongside the transcendent moments. You're not meant to float above the chaos in enlightened detachment. You're meant to dive into it with such presence, such awareness, that you transform it through your participation. This is the path of the embodied mystic, the grounded starseed, the cosmic human who bridges heaven and earth through their willingness to be fully here, even while remembering their celestial origins. For those of you experiencing physical symptoms, the digestive issues, the skin eruptions, the mysterious aches that medical tests can't explain, understand that your body is literally restructuring itself at a cellular level. The old patterns of control weren't just mental constructs, they were stored in your muscles, encoded in your organs, locked in your bones. As you release control mentally and emotionally, your body must release it physically. This can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it's temporary. Your body knows how to heal itself once you stop forcing it to maintain patterns that no longer serve your evolution. The cosmic wildcard in today's configuration is something astronomers haven't detected yet, a gamma-ray burst from a distant galaxy that's carrying codes specifically designed to activate dormant capacities in human consciousness. These codes interact with the Moon-Jupiter opposition to create what we call evolutionary pressure points. You feel them as moments of unbearable tension followed by sudden release, as impossible situations that resolve in miraculous ways, as problems that dissolve the moment you stop trying to solve them. These pressure points aren't punishment, they're cosmic acupuncture, releasing blocked energy and restoring flow to systems that have been stagnant for lifetimes. What you interpret as mistakes or failures during this period are actually initiations in disguise. Each time you try to control and fail, each time your plans fall apart, each time you're forced to surrender to forces beyond your comprehension, you're being initiated into higher levels of consciousness. These aren't random disasters, they're precisely orchestrated experiences designed to break your addiction to predictability and open you to the magic that exists beyond the borders of control. The universe is not punishing you for trying to control, it's loving you enough to show you there's a better way. The abundance codes embedded in today's configuration operate on a principle that defies everything you've been taught about manifestation. Instead of clarity creating abundance, it's surrender to mystery that opens the floodgates. The universe is waiting for you to admit you don't know what you really want, because what you think you want is limited by what you think is possible. When you release your specific demands and open to receive what you can't even imagine, that's when miracles disguised as chaos begin reorganizing your reality in ways that exceed your wildest dreams. Here's a secret about tonight's self-righteous energy that the Moon-Jupiter opposition generates. It's not about being right in the conventional sense. It's about being righteous in alignment with your soul's truth, even when that truth contradicts everything society considers reasonable. The urge to declare your truth, to stand in your power, to refuse to compromise your authenticity. This isn't ego inflation, it's soul declaration. The cosmos is giving you permission to be unapologetically yourself, to take up space, to shine so brightly that others either rise to meet your frequency or fade from your reality. The timeline shifts available during this configuration are not metaphorical, they're literal quantum jumps between parallel realities. Every choice to release control, to embrace uncertainty, to flow with chaos rather than resist it, moves you onto a timeline where different possibilities exist. Some of you have already noticed this, people appearing or disappearing from your life suddenly, opportunities manifesting from meowing, problems that seemed insurmountable simply ceasing to exist. You're not going crazy, you're going quantum. Your consciousness is learning to navigate between timelines based on frequency rather than staying locked in a single linear progression. We want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily, manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today. Link in the description. As we approach the completion of this transmission, understand that what you've received is more than words. It's an energetic transmission that will continue unpacking in your consciousness for weeks to come. You'll have moments of sudden clarity while doing mundane tasks, revelations in dreams that reshape your waking reality, spontaneous understandings that seem to come from meowing but actually come from the everywhere of your multi-dimensional self. The activation you've received through engaging with this message has fundamentally altered your receptivity to cosmic frequencies. Your broadcasting on channels that were previously closed, receiving on wavelengths that were previously static. The final truth I'll leave you with is this: the control you're releasing was never yours to begin with. It was a borrowed construct, a temporary scaffold that helped you navigate the density of three-dimensional existence. But you're graduating beyond the need for scaffolding. You're discovering that you have wings, that you've always had wings, and that the cage of control was the only thing preventing you from using them. As you spread these multi-dimensional wings for the first time, there will be moments of wobbling, of uncertain flight, of crash landings that teach you about aerodynamics of consciousness. But once you taste the freedom of true flow, once you experience the exhilaration of navigating by trust rather than control, you'll wonder how you ever lived any other way. This is your moment of liberation, your cosmic jailbreak, your revolution of consciousness. I am Zarin from the Lyran High Council, and this transmission is sealed with the frequency of infinite possibility. We love you beyond measure, and we are celebrating your courage to release the illusion of control and embrace the truth of your unlimited nature.